Hi to everyone. My name is Svetlana. I'm working with Dr. Filonov for different years. And today we wanted to speak with Debra. It's one of our patients, one of patients of Dr. Filonov that has been as well on one of his retreats. You've been once with us, right, Debra?
Once, yes.
Yeah. So can you present yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, your medical issues, and your path of healing? Let's start with the main things. Let's start with you.
Okay, sure. So I'm 58, and this started when I was 54. So it's been it's pretty close to 4 years. I was in great health, physically fit, very active, and I had a little period of stress. And then actually I got my dog, my 110-pound dog came barreling down a hill and just wiped me out. So I couldn't do the things I was doing, but it was just because I was injured. And then when I got back to being able to do things, I just started getting very uncomfortable. First, I just thought it was like from working out and pains and just soreness, and it just got progressively worse. So, it started in my shoulders and my neck, moved to my knees, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I did get tested for Lyme. I tested negative. So I just Googled and Googled and Googled, but I couldn't figure it out. So I could barely lift my arms. I couldn't move my shoulders. So I could move my elbows, so I could wash my hair and do things like that, but I couldn't lift my arms. My neck was stiff. I couldn't twist my neck. My knees were really swollen and I couldn't bend or straighten them. So I kind of just shuffled along, and it was just, the worst of it was terribly painful. It was just pain 24 hours a day. So finally, I just started trying different things. I had the light laser therapy on my knees and shoulders and neck. That didn't do a thing. That led me to a chiropractor. So I went to the chiropractor, which led me to a Lyme specialist. I went back to do more Lyme testing and tested positive clinically. It was inconclusive by the test, but I had a bunch of co-infections. So she thought I had Lyme, and one of my co-infections is Mycoplasma. So that turned out to be the hardest thing for me. I feel like I kind of kicked the Lyme with all the stuff she had me do, but I couldn't kick the Mycoplasma. So let's see, I started with her, I don't know, in May. And first I started with all herbals, really strong herbals and supplements.
4 years ago, right?
The what?
4 years ago you started.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it took me a while to get to the Lyme specialist. So it was probably, a little over 3 when I started going to her. And so I tried all the herbals first because I didn't want to go on antibiotics, and it didn't seem to help. And they do help a lot of people. So that's one thing I'd like to say is Lyme is tricky because it's so different. It manifests so differently in people, and what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. So I'm just relaying my experience. So it's just, kind of my personal experience. So the herbals didn't work. I went on antibiotics. I stayed on antibiotics for a year and a half. I was also on Plaquenil, which is a anti-malaria drug, and it suppresses your immune system, and it's used for arthritis. Most of my symptoms were like arthritis, like a rheumatoid arthritis. So I took Advil or Aleve every single day, just try to keep the inflammation down, and I didn't like doing that at all. And I just hated being on antibiotics. It helped a little bit, but it really didn't help. It slightly helped. You know, it made it a little less painful. I could move a little better, but it wasn't working, in my opinion. I got off the antibiotics, and I just didn't want to be on them anymore. And once I did that, everything started coming back super bad. So I went through, I don't know, maybe a month like that. And I called, I had also done ozone therapy. I had ozone injections in my knees, and I also had my knees drained. I had done a lot of different things. And I did biomagnetic pairing, which is people had great results, and it's supposed to, I wrote it down, it's supposed to reestablish your acidic alkaline balance so that pathogens can't survive. I did that for 9 months, and in addition to the other protocol. And anyway, nothing seemed to help. And I decided I need
results. Did you see any results from what you were doing?
I didn't see any results from the magnets. I did feel slightly better on antibiotics. But, I shuffled along, like I couldn't really walk. I couldn't get up and down stairs. It was hard to get dressed. I couldn't sit. If I sat at her, if I stood at her, if I was in bed, it hurt. Like everything hurt. And I felt like I didn't have the neurological Lyme like a lot of people get. But at the same time, it was very hard to concentrate because all I could think about was how bad I hurt. I'd be trying to talk to somebody, and I was just in pain constantly. So anyway, I decided I need to get back on the antibiotics. So I called my doctor, and she called in a prescription for me. And then just kind of out of the blue, I decided to water fast. And so I never picked up the prescription. I water fasted for 5 days.
It's after how long time of standard treatments you decided to fast, like being on the water fast? After how long?
It was probably a couple years. And then I did the 5-day water fast, and I felt great. Like the inflammation disappeared, so I could bend. I was feeling good. I didn't have the pain. Mm-hmm. And so I felt that there was something to it. I was on to something. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I took a sip of water, though, everything came back. And so it didn't last, but it did feel better while I was doing it. So then I just started to try and research fasting. And I came across a blog that Michelle had written. Mm-hmm. And so so I reached out to Michelle, and I got a way to contact Dr. Filonov. And that was a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. So that was March, about a year and a half ago. I met with him on Zoom, and he felt he could help me. And I did. So first I did the cleansing, the polysorb and getting ready. And I started with a 2-day and then a 3-day, and worked myself up to a 5-day. So then I did a 7-day and 9 and a 9 and a 9.
I remember that you did a lot of dry fastings, like long dry fasting by yourself at home. How many long dry fasting have you done?
Well, I went to Montenegro this past April, but I had planned to go last October, a year ago today from now. And I got COVID 4 days before I was supposed to leave. So I had planned on that. So I had to postpone it for 6 months, but I had done, so I did, I have it written down. I did
from last October, you started long dry fasting, right?
No, it was before that, because I prepared to get to a long fast there. So yeah. I did June of 2021. I did a 7-day, a 9-day. August, I did a 9-day. October, when I was supposed to go, I got COVID, but I did it at home, a 9-day. And then December, I did a 10-day. And then I knew I was coming in April, so I did 7 in February, and then I did a 9 with Dr. Filonov in April. And I kept getting better. I felt better. I felt healthy. I felt good. I didn't feel like a sick person anymore. I stopped taking Advil. I stopped taking everything. And but my symptoms kept coming back. My knees continued to swell. I couldn't quite get there, and I couldn't understand why. And he, of course, thought I was doing something wrong. And but I thought I was doing it all right. And I just couldn't get to 100%. So I came to Montenegro, and I'm so glad I did, to see him in person. And he told me, so one of my questions was, and he may have translated at the time, was, is it the mycoplasma bacteria that, I kill it off, but then the strongest of it survives and reproduces? Is that what is happening? And he said, no, you're healed, you're cured of your disease, but you're dealing with the consequences of your disease. And your muscles are deformed and twisted, and now you need manual manipulation to get beyond that. It's nothing that dry fasting can help you with. You cured the disease, but you still have the consequences. So I remember when I heard that, it was, right when I got there, and I still had a fast ahead of me. And it was at the time discouraging, because I thought I was going to be able to do another fast there and leave and be done and be cured and, never look back. And it didn't quite happen that way for me. But when I did come back, I started seeing a rolfer, which they are practitioners who do deep manual manipulation to connective tissues. Mm-hmm. So I started with that. She suggested I add yin yoga, which I started to do. And then I got a sauna. I was lucky enough to get a sauna, and I've been in the sauna pretty much every day. And I really feel like I'm back to normal.
Right now, how do you feel?
I feel great. I still have to get a little stronger, which is understandable, but I don't have pain. I'm flexible. I can move. I'm not taking any supplements, any drugs. I feel great. I feel like I'm back to myself.
Can you say
it took a long time.
Yeah. Can you say what's the difference? You have fasted for so long, like you did a lot of long dry fasting by yourself. What's the difference when you are fasting by yourself, or you're going under the supervision by Dr. Filonov? What's the difference by fasting by yourself and in a group?
Well, I'm fortunate to live in a great spot to be able to fast in nature and clean air. So that I was very fortunate to have. When I went to Montenegro, of course, you're in a group. There are people that you connect with that will always be connected with you after that experience. And it makes it easier to kind of get through the fast. But seeing Dr. Filonov in person, I don't know, if I didn't go there, I would probably still be trying to figure out why it wasn't working completely for me. If I didn't see him and he didn't tell me that, I probably would have given up on fasting. Yes. Because I had already done so many, and I just couldn't keep that schedule up. And I don't.
And you would tell that it's not working.
Right. So, and as I said, it did work, and I did feel a lot better, and I could tell I was healthier. But that was the missing piece. I couldn't figure it out on my own. And he is such a special person and such a healer that he can just look at somebody and give them advice. I remember when I was getting massage, I had been having for a few months this sciatica pain that I never even mentioned to him. And he went right to that spot just by looking at me and asked about it. And, stuff like that is just kind of amazing what he's capable of.
Yeah, he's getting people very good.
Yes. So anyway, I don't know if I mentioned, so when I was doing all this fasting by myself at home, I was meeting with him on Zoom. So it wasn't, I just didn't take it on by myself and try it. I was doing it under his supervision, but just from a distance.
Yeah, I see. And how do you feel right now? Do you feel that you are completely cured, or you're still on this path of recovery?
I feel like I'm cured. I did my first big hike probably about a month ago now, and it was the first time I had gone out to hike, and I hiked up a local mountain, and it was a 6.5 hour hike, and it was very steep and rocky and difficult. And I have to admit that hurt. Like, I wasn't expecting to be in pain, but I was. But I got back down, and then the more I've been going, the better I am. So I don't hurt anymore. Now I can walk up a hill, and it just feels normal to me. So as I said, I'm still working on getting, gaining muscle and getting more strength, mm-hmm. But it's easier now. Life it's easier. It was just, and I always said people had it, a lot of people had it worse than I had it. Not just Lyme, but in general, people, it's not like I was the worst person in the world with symptoms, but for me, it was really bad. It was just terribly painful. I knew it would probably shorten my life, but it wasn't going to kill me anytime soon. And so I knew I had almost an entire life to get through in that condition. And, I didn't want to do it. I used to, I used to joke about, just take me out back and shoot me. I don't want to go through this. It was just hard, like everyday things.
I'm difficult. Very happy to hear from you these things. I remember even when you were laying while we were doing treatments to you, and I remember how you were feeling, like your discouragement, that you are telling, that he was telling you that you already healed, and you couldn't believe that. No, I'm not. I feel
Right.
not. And you were like honest with that. I saw how you were feeling. Did you have you done, after our meeting in Montenegro, have you done other long fasting by yourself?
I haven't done any long fasts. I've done, I was doing like a 36-hour fast every week or so. And then I did about a 2.5 day, and it felt good. I felt good after it. But mostly I've just been using the sauna. I am planning to do a 3-day coming up, maybe when everybody is in Montenegro again at the beginning of October. Maybe I'll do it then, but that's
Like
kind
on
of my
distance,
plan.
but with us. I see.
Yeah.
It's very good. So now you're doing fasting as a prevention, not as a healing process, but as a prevention, 36 hours every week. Because now I'm doing the same. I'm doing just for myself these things without having any kind of problems. So would you recommend fasting for people?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, I'm traveling a lot, and when I'm speaking with people about fasting, like people who know me, they already even started to fast without understanding how it happened. But during these years, they already started to fast because they're hearing all this, and always they're next to me. So for them, it became something natural already. But people who just I'm meeting just in this very moment, and they are hearing about fasting, for them it's something like to hear that you are not eating or not drinking for 1, 2, 3 days. For them it's something extraordinary. They think that people are going to die after 3 days of not having water. And how did you come to a point that you decided to try this dry fasting? It is very strong practice. Did you watch different videos? Did you inform yourself about Dr. Filonov about these practices? How did you decide to go through this strong practice?
Well, I went on his website and translated it, and he has great information there. So I read all that. I got his book, and I read everything I could. And I just think, when you're desperate, you try anything when you're desperate. And I had tried so many things and it didn't work. And, I just wasn't ready to give up. And for me, the fasting, because the inflammation disappeared while I was fasting, it actually was not that hard for me to fast because I felt better. I didn't have the pain and I could bend my limbs. Like I remember one of my goals was just to be able to like plunk down on the ground. I just couldn't get myself down. I couldn't sit down on the ground from a stand by myself. And I remember during one of the long fasts, my first long fast, I could do that. All of a sudden I could just plunk down in the grass with my dog, and it just felt so good. And then of course, as soon as not as soon, but usually 4 or 5 days after I broke the fast, I would get the symptoms would return. And that was, I have to say, that was really the hardest part of fasting, was the roller coaster. I would just think I'm cured and I feel so much better. And then I would return to having symptoms. And it was really, really hard. It was mentally hard. That was the hardest part of it, I would say, to go up and then go backwards, and go up and then backwards. And I, after reading Michelle's story, I just had high expectations that I was gonna do 3 fasts and be cured. And for me, it didn't work that way. So it was just a different process, and everybody's different. different. I realized that, but I guess I just, for me, it's been a year and a half since I started working with Dr. Filonov.
So still a year and a half and you already feeling yourself cured. So it's already a result. You know what?
Right.
You know what I'm wondering, how to transmit to people, because I'm not having diseases, I'm not desperate. Like, there are no healthy people in this world and we have to admit it. But in any case, how to transmit to people that fasting can be a prevention. What we see right now, even when I came to doctor to fast, he said, like, you belong to 2% of people that are coming for prevention. Because actually I was just curious to see to challenge my body and to see what I can do. What is my limit, like physical limit. And it was my curiosity. That's why I'm into fasting. But what we see receiving people, that people usually are coming when they are desperate. And we don't want people to come to us on their latest stages of their diseases.
Right.
Like when they do not have any kind of other options because they tried all of them. You know, it's like, can be a message to people who do not believe, who say that they do not need it right now, that it's something like people like to eat a lot, not only to drink, but to eat. Like, how to transmit to people that we were even thinking, like, for the slogan, like, fast is a new drug and it's free, like, enjoy, something like that, because really it's something very healthy to live really a very quality life. What can be your message? Are people around you that are watching you, that are seeing the changes that are coming, that came through these years? Are they fasting, for example? Did they take this example, or they are waiting to be desperate? Like,
I don't know. I have to say, it is easier to do when you're desperate. I mean, I know from my experience, the fasts when I was feeling terrible were a lot easier than to fast when I'm feeling good. But no, I can't say I have convinced anybody to fast on a regular basis who doesn't have a reason, health issue.
Yeah, this is something that we have to work out, because we want to transmit this health message into this world. But unfortunately, it's coming only to those who are already desperate. And we don't know, we don't want that. We want people to be healthy before they become desperate. What can be your message? I'm just trying to find out from those who already went through this journey.
I don't know. I know for myself, I just feel super fortunate. I know I am one of a handful of Americans probably who have worked personally, in person with Dr. Filonov. And so I'm very grateful for that. But I feel like I have the secret. I feel like I have a secret now, and it shouldn't be a secret, but I feel like I do have the secret to health that I'll always have. I feel like I know the answer. I don't feel like I can be sick again. I feel like I know how to prevent that. But I don't know how to make anybody else feel that way.
We know the secret. This is something that I have to sign, really. We know the secret. Correct. Thank you. This is very important message. We know the secret. And is it correct that Lyme disease is considered to be not curable by modern medicine? What do you think? Do you know the statistics about that?
I don't really know the statistics. I know people who catch it right at the beginning do pretty well. It's the people that, don't. Like I don't, I've been bitten by ticks a number of times over the years. So there wasn't one time that I never cared about. I never thought about it. I never was afraid of it. I would just pull a tick off me and not think again about it. And so for me, this could have been in my body for a number of years, and it was just kind of the perfect storm of stress and an injury that brought it out. But I do know a lot of people who have Lyme disease who struggle with it, and they seem to go into remission and then symptoms flare. But I don't really know. I'm no expert on Lyme disease. I mean, I know I've done my own research, but as far as other people go, I can't give too much advice.
But thank you very much for this expression. Like, we know the secret. This is a strong one. I will take it.
Yeah, no, I tell people, I've sent people to Dr. Filonov's website, and I think people are intrigued by it. But in my little network, nobody really has gone that far as to start fasting regularly. But I do, for me, I do feel like this is it. My health issues are behind me, because I know how to take care of myself now.
Yes. Do people have to be afraid of dry fasting? Someone is saying like it's not very, it's dangerous. What can you say from your experience? You have done so many long dry fasting. Is it dangerous to dry fast?
I think you have to prepare. And I think you have to, for me, it was important to have the guidance from Dr. Filonov for breaking the fasts, and, the whole thing from the preparation to the exit. So I wouldn't recommend somebody just do it on their own without preparing and without learning more or working with somebody. But no, I'm not, I never felt that it was going to kill me. I never thought I was going to die from it, but I did have a lot of people who thought that. And, even my mom, she'll be 93 next month. And last year when I was planning to go to Montenegro, she was beside herself. She just did not want me to do these fasts. She actually said, if I could forbid you to do that, I would, because she was so worried and upset. She was so worried about me. But, I look at me now. It's like, what if I didn't do that? If I didn't do that, I would just be in such a bad place right now. And I think I've convinced even somebody like her, but that it's worked,
Is she happy right now?
Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, now she's not afraid anymore. I see. Thank you so much, Debra. Would you like to say something to those who will be seeing your message, your story? Is there something that you want to share?
I think the most important thing is, and I've spoken to Olia about this, and that's the other thing, you make connections, like when with Stefan and Olia and Alex, it's you just have these connections that are really strong with people who you didn't even know, and now they're like family. But Oli and I have spoken about just that everybody is so different, and that you can't give up and you can't expect instant results. And just because it might not, might take longer for somebody, doesn't mean it's not going to work. It will work. It's just a matter of time. And, you know, if it takes a year and a half or 2 years or even 3 years for you to get there, I mean, at least you'll get there. And don't give up too quickly, because as I said, I mean, even with me, with Dr. Filonov, I knew he thought I was doing it incorrectly, and I knew I wasn't, but he couldn't figure out until he saw me what the problem was. And that would be the other thing. If you can get there, if you can get to meet him in person, you know, do it, because that there's no replacement for that. You know, I've met with him on Zoom, but that's not even close to seeing him in person. And, you know, and everybody, the whole team was really amazing, and it was a great experience. And it, you know, here I am. It got me to the finish line, I feel like.
But 1.5 years, it's not long to feel again life back.
No, it's not. It's worth it. It's, you know, slow and steady, but it's worth it in the end. And as I said, if I didn't go there in April, I have to wonder, would I still be trying to figure things out? Would I have ever gotten there? Would I have just given up? Because if I didn't know about the manual manipulation piece, I wouldn't have probably done that on my own. I didn't, you know, it was one thing I didn't think about. So he gave me that bit of information that really got me to the finish.
Yeah, I'm happy for you. Really, I'm happy to hear this story, and this gives us a lot of inspiration to go on and not to stop at all.
Right. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's nice to see you. Say hi to everybody in October.
Yeah, it's in few days we're flying there, so I'm very happy to see you right now, and keep us updated what is going on in your life.
I will.
And like transmit this message to the world, like please prevent, don't wait to be desperate.
Right.
Yes. Thank you, Debra.
Thank you. See ya.